Hey everybody, it's Thursday evening, August 24th, 2017, and I decided I would just do I'm going to call this video an odds and sods. I've done a couple of these in the past. Just kind of wanted to do a few, talk about a few different things or maybe show a few different things, and none of them really are worth having their own dedicated episode or series. So I got a few, just a few kind of flea market items, sort of buys, tool buys. Take a quick look at those and show you a couple other things, a couple projects I've been working on that I haven't really dedicated any more video time to. Let's see, where do we stand? Let's see, probably I'm going to be editing and uploading. Next video will be you guys probably already will have seen it by the time this video airs. It would be the Milwaukee drill video, which was a failed repair attempt on my one of my favorite cordless drills. I've been looking on eBay and I found that apparently what a lot of people are doing is they're taking combo packs and they're breaking them into sections and selling off separate pieces. And I guess by doing that, maybe they get more money than if they just sell the whole pack as a whole. I don't know. But for whatever reason, there is no shortage of guys on eBay selling the newest version of that drill, which looks like it uses the same batteries as the one I have now. And they're selling it as a bare drill with no charger, no batteries, no case. Just the bare drill, brand new. And they're going for, pretty much right now, they're trading for around 30, 35 bucks. So I've been chasing those and bidding, trying to snag one at around 30 bucks. And I'm just missing out. Initially I looked at previous sales and I saw that some had gone for as little as 25 bucks. So I was trying to get around 27 bucks, but it seems like lately a lot of people are trying to get those and they're pushing it up. So I might have to bite the bullet and eventually spend like maybe 32 to 35 bucks. But that's shipping included. They're offering free shipping, so that's like nothing really, and it's a cheap way to get out of my problem with that drill. The PC board assembly for that drill alone costs more than that. So if I wanted to attempt to repair that drill by replacing the PC board, which is a bad idea because the motor's still original, the switch and all that, the case is a little beat up, the gearbox is original. I'm just gonna bite the bullet and get the new one, and then I'll also keep an eye out for a deal on something, maybe something like a DeWalt 20 VMAX, or I'm trying to think of some of the other ones I've been looking at. I haven't given much time to researching and that, but I think somebody told me it might be DeWalt or Makita. Somebody's got, I guess, one that they were saying they think is probably the best. Might be a brushless one. I don't know. You may also have already seen I uploaded a new video regarding the Hitachi plasma screen TV because it died on me again. I got the replacement board on order with shipping, priority mail. It was like 55 bucks for a brand new board off eBay. So I'm going to take a chance and replace the board again. And last time I replaced the board, it lasted 4 years. So now I plan on, I think what I'm going to do is if it fixes the TV, we'll run the TV until we get a good deal on a sale price on a new TV and replace the old girl because it's up to 9 years old now. The Craftsman sander series, that's pretty much I think going to be, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to bother making another one of those videos. Maybe just like a finale video, but let me just show you what I've been doing with that. So I abandoned the one that I was currently working on because of the issues I was having with the bracket, the alignment and all that. And so this is the stand from that one, and I grabbed this unit which I had purchased, and I had shown this in a series a while back that I bought this. It was in a garage and it was on a rickety wooden cabinet, and it had a really old motor on it, and other than than that, though, it was in really good condition. So I decided, well, what the heck, so here's the original base from the one I was messing with. This is gonna end up going in scrap because nobody needs these. Occasionally you see them on eBay and they just sit there and nobody bids on them. I guess they never break, so that's gonna be trash. But this is not the table that was on this originally. This is the table that came with this one. You can see it's a better match. It's got some cut wear on it from belt or disc problems. I just put this one on here because I was curious if it would fit okay, and it does. And I also was toying with the idea of which one of these I want to keep. I got a couple different options I could do here. I could sell this with its original table and then offer this table for additional money to whoever buys it. And the reason why you might want two tables is because you're supposed to take this table and swap it over to this location so that you can have a table to run this in the vertical position. But I was thinking if you had the luxury of two tables, wondering whether or not you can't, yeah, sure, why not? You know, have two tables, and then you don't have to, if you want to use the disc, you don't have to take your table off of here and put it on here. You can just go right around the corner and use the disc. So that's why I might do that. I think these trade for about 25 bucks on eBay. So that's another possibility. So let me fire this up real quick and show you. I got this all set to go. I could actually advertise this right now. The only thing this really needs is, unfortunately, it's just got this little short cord that goes right into the motor, so it really could use a switch. But it really tracks nicely. Everything seems to work really well with this. So this is pretty much ready to go. I was thinking this is an older one. I know it's an older one. This is an older one. I was thinking this actually seems like a superior setup as far as the adjustment goes, because you don't have to mess with the locking nuts and the screws, and you've got these nice big knobs to adjust it. But then the thing I noticed about this one that hadn't occurred to me until I was working on it was there's no dust collection whatsoever. There's nothing on here for dust collection. In other words, the one that I was working on previous to this had all of this stuff. It had this piece that goes on. So this piece would go on back here and give you a place to attach this. The belt would sit up in there, you know. And then that gives you dust collection for the disc. And then also, there's another plastic shroud that goes on this down here to give you dust collection on the belt. And then there's also this little plate right here that covers right here. Well, none of these pieces will fit this unit. This unit must have come stock just the way it is. So I guess this is for somebody who really likes a dusty shop. This right here is the one from the one I was working on, and I actually looked up online. The last one of these sold for like 30 or 35 bucks, so I'm probably going to eBay that piece. And like I said, the casting for the base, this base casting from the other one, that's going to be trash. We'll scrap that. And then this also is of no use to most people. This casting right here, as nice as this one is, because of the weight, it's not really practical to ship it. Unfortunately, I got the brand new bearings in here. I don't know if I want to go through the trouble of even trying to take those out. They're cheap import bearings. What I do have to take out of this though is I need one of these adjusting cams here and the hardware. Definitely need that because that one that I got for 20 bucks is missing that. So I'll be able to make that one hopefully complete and able to rock and roll by taking that cam piece off of that one. So what I'm going to end up with is I'm going to end up with pretty much two working sanders out of 3. So I'm satisfied with that. And both of these are going down the road anyways. I don't need them. I've got my Delta Rockwell that I'm going to fix up, that I'm going to keep. Actually, I got 2 of those, but and I got, and then also, if I decide that I do want to keep one for woodworking, I've got that old Toolcraft. That's probably going to keep that one for myself if I end up doing woodworking. So that's what the story is on the Craftsman's. So I got a couple of tool buys I wanted to mention. These are tools that I I didn't buy them. I took them in trade. It was one of the kind of deals where I didn't need these tools, and I didn't really want them, but I was able to close a deal. I had mentioned a while back that I've got too many Kennedy toolboxes, and I had decided to start thinning the herd. So I had just sold one of my Kennedys, and I had the top box and the two drawer riser, and I had the 2-drawer riser was a Waterloo, which is the Craftsman. It's a line from Craftsman, I think. It's actually decent construction, and it looks, it's a dead ringer for a Kennedy. Maybe even made by Kennedy for Craftsman, I don't know. But anyways, I had advertised the 2 of those together. I forgot what I had asked for the pair, and I got contacted by a guy in the next town over, and he was interested. I mentioned, well, I said, you're getting into the trade. I just decided, well, maybe I'll just cut a deal with this guy. And he had mentioned he had some stuff. So I went over and took a look at what he had. He also had mentioned that he likes old tools. So I brought with me an old Starrett level. I'd shown that a while back, I think. It was kind of a weird Starrett level with a really like ornate shaped webbing design in it. And the bubble was at the very end, and it almost looked to me like it was that it was a larger level, and at some point somebody cut it, and they did a really good job of cutting it perfectly, so it almost looked factory, but I think it wasn't original. But he just liked the look of it. Had a couple of old wood planes, not really rare ones. I did have one really interesting solid brass miniature plane. I could only find one marking on it. Was never able to identify the maker. So I brought that with me, thinking, well, we'll see what happens, and ended up taking, I gave him those few tools and the toolbox and the riser, and he gave me $100 cash and 3 tools that I grabbed, which were, of all the stuff he had there, the only things that I could even mildly use or had any interest in. A couple of Ryobi grinders that look like they've seen almost no use, if any. He couldn't find the wrenches, but he said he believed he had 2 wrenches for it. I've since been in contact with him, and he's kind of hard to pin down, and especially when the subject turns around to the wrenches that he owes me. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not that. I mean, I'll find either a wrench in my collection already that fits this, or. But anyways, so that one is in pretty good shape. It's missing a handle. Other than that, it seems perfectly fine. And then he had this one here, which has a handle. And then I was like, oh well, if I want, maybe I could use this handle on here. Well, son of a gun! Even though these are both Ryobis, they pulled a fast one on us, and they used a different size threaded hole on this one. So this handle won't fit this one. The reason why I thought maybe I might want a handle on this one is because this one, I don't think any of my other grinders have this. This one has a threaded hole on the top. So you can actually put the handle up here and use it like this. I don't know if that makes much sense. I guess, maybe. This one, the guard, it's present, but the guard just flops around. I said, oh, it's just going to be tightened. Then I got it home and I went to tighten it and realized, I took a closer look at it and realized, oh, that screw's stripped as hell. So I don't know what somebody was doing with this thing. It doesn't look like it's really banged up or beat up, but whoever was using it, I think they had no idea how to properly snug up a guard without stripping the hell out of the screw. I got no immediate plans for these anyways. So I don't know which one of these is older and which one of these is newer. This one's got an orange switch, kind of an interesting little design there. And this has got a black switch. This one says Ryobi 4-inch grinder on it. This one just says nothing. And one of these is more amperage than the other, if I recall correctly. I don't have my glasses on. This one is clearly an AG401, okay, and this one is an AG403. So make of that what you will. So I don't know if the 403 came after the 401 or the 403 is just another model in the line. Don't know, don't care. Even if I can't use this guard on this one, if I've got a grinder like this and I buy a grinder dirt cheap and it's missing the guard, what I'll just do is I'll put a wire wheel, cup wheel, or a bristle disc or something like that on there that doesn't normally use a guard anyways, and just use it that way. So now I've got, I think this will be 4 and 5 angle grinders I've got. And my theory on those is based on what I've seen on other guys' channels is you can never have enough angle grinders. And even with all these angle grinders, I still wouldn't mind getting myself one of these Watrobas because that's what everybody's talking about now. Watroba this, Watroba that. So I got those 2 angle grinders and this sawzall. This is a Milwaukee sawzall, you know, the original, I guess. And I don't know what model this is. I've got a perfectly good Milwaukee sawzall in the original box. It's old as heck and it still works perfectly fine. And the reason why I decided to take this one was because I needed to find something else because I was allowing him too much, I thought. But then again, you guys know the way I buy those boxes. Chances are I bought that box with everything in it for the $100 that he paid me, which means that it's kind of like I got this stuff as gravy. I actually don't remember. But oh, so getting back to this, so I've got an early one of these, and on the early ones, there's a special little Allen screw that's got a stepped point that actually holds the blade in, and they actually have an Allen key that hangs off of a little rubber thing here on the cord, so you can always have the Allen key handy so you can loosen it up, put a blade in, and tighten it up. Well, what happened on mine was that screw loosened up and fell out at some point, and I didn't notice it, and it was lost. So I had to buy it. Probably could have made one, but it really wasn't worth the grief. Ended up buying one online and having it shipped, and I think it was like, I don't know, maybe with shipping like $6 or $8. A little crazy for one little screw. But I saw this one and I realized, oh, this is the newer style, and it's got this this quick release. You just turn this and the blade goes right in, and you turn this back and it locks in, which I like the idea of that. Now, some of you guys may tell me that, oh gee, you know what, Steve, it turns out that that actually is not a good design, and that the old one I have might even be better. But it seems to work perfectly fine. It's definitely gotten a lot of use. It's got the speed control over here, which I can't remember if my other one even has a speed control on it. I've never used it. Let me crank this baby right up to 5. It actually sounds okay. Of course, with these things, you never really know till you really start cutting with them and putting them to work. You know, if you get 5 minutes into cutting and the thing quits because it's overheated, then you know there's something else going on there. All right, but this seems to work perfectly fine, which is good. The ground pin broken off on these. I don't know why, but it seems like every time I see one of these sawzalls used for sale, it seems like that pin's always missing. My theory is that what happens is that when these are plugged in, if they get pulled to the side and pulled out, because these 2 pins are flat, I think they'll just bend and they can be bent back easily. But I think because this is a round hollow pin, the ground pin's a round hollow pin, it's got that box structure to it, so it doesn't want to easily bend. So when it does bend, it fatigues the metal, and when you try and bend it back, it just snaps off. And that's just the theory. But so I got myself another sawzall. If I pull this out right here, I can take this thing out. I guess it's so you can adjust this to different settings. And I only mention it because I think I must have this on my other one, right? I don't think I've ever messed with the adjustment of this shoe. Spoiler alert, today I actually went back to the May 2017 Honey Hole estate for another trip. I hadn't been there in 3 weeks. Did pick up some items, so that's going to be coming up in a future episode. I will say this, there were a couple of items that I couldn't stop thinking about over the last couple of weeks that I had seen there right along, and they were big heavy things that I didn't want to really get too involved with. You guys saw the Hammond grinder. Well, anyways, there was a Hammond belt grinder. They're a massive one. And then also a Solberga, Solberga gearhead drill press that I kind of fell in love with. And sitting on it was this oversized tilting rotary table that was way too big for the machine. I would have loved to have scored all that for really cheap money, sold the rotary table, which was way too big for any of my equipment, and fixed up the drill press, and also probably would have sold that belt grinder because it was massive. But that was not to be. I guess he got cold feet. Nobody else was offering money on it. You know, when I had made offers, he felt that the offers were too low. And then that insult to injury, he goes off and he scraps them. Brought him to the scrap yard. Matter of fact, he said they actually ended up breaking up some of the stuff to get it out of the basement easier in chunks. So those pieces will not live to work another day, unfortunately. And the last thing I'm going to throw in here in this little odds and ends series is I'd like to mention a fellow New Englander, a fellow Massachusetts native, or someone here in Massachusetts who has a channel that I enjoy watching. He's got a small machine shop. He's kind of a hobby machinist. He's a full-time, I believe, HVAC tech, and his name's Greg, and his channel is Halligan142. I hope I'm saying that right. It's Halligan 142. So you might want to check his channel out. He's in the middle of refurbishing a 13-inch South Bend lathe, and I happened to be watching him, and I thought, geez, you know, I've got that extra study rest, and I said, I bet you that's for a 13-inch lathe. I wonder whether or not it would fit his lathe. So I shot him off a message, and I said, hey, do you happen to have that lathe of yours come with a steady rest? And he said, no. And he said, but I'd like to get one. So I told him, I said, well, I've got an extra one here, so I don't know if it'll fit exactly. And so he sent me some dimensions, and we were just looking at it tonight. So this is the steady. So this is that old steady rest that I picked up, and it's dirty as heck. God only knows what the original color of this thing was. There's a number in the casting on the bottom here, A43. It's upside down. But anyways, that's the only markings I can find on the whole thing. So I took some measurements. I took a measurement from this flat area right here to the center line of the study, and it's exactly 6.5 inches. So I have every reason to believe that this is definitely for a 13-inch swing lathe. The problem is he gave me a dimension of 4.75 inches from what I believe he was saying the center of the top of the V to the center of the flat that it rests on, which I believe he's talking about over here. So he's saying that his is 4.75 inches from here to about here. And the problem with this one is that this one is 6.5 inches. Oddly enough, 6.5 inches from here to here, center line to here, 6.5 inches, center line from here to about here, 6.5 inches. So don't know if this is going to work out, because the easy thing would be we could mill this flat area right here so that it goes over even further. So, you know, mill this flat over even further. So that would solve that problem. The problem is the center line distance from the center of this V to the center point right here. Okay, you want that to be half of his 4.75, and it's not. So what ends up happening is, yeah, sure, we'll be able to put it on his ways by milling this flat back, but then this whole center line will be off to one side of his center line of his spindle by, let's see, I guess that would be half of the difference between 4.75 and 6.5. So inch and a half, inch and three, so half of inch and 3/4. That's how far it would be offset. So that would be a problem. The other possibility is we have quite a bit of meat right here. Okay, so could mill this whole bottom flat and then make an adapter plate that fits his ways, and then attach the adapter plate to this. So might still be a way to rescue this. So I don't know. We'll see. If I sent him off the dimensions, and we'll end up, if it's something he can use, maybe we'll do a road trip and bring this up to him. He's about, I don't know exactly where he is, but I think based on watching his videos, he's up somewhere off North Shore of Boston area. Maybe up towards Lawrence or something like that, which from me, because I'm down here at the Connecticut border, it's probably about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes or so away. But anyways, so that's what's going on. So I guess we're going to call this video a wrap. Probably already rambled on way too long. All right, take care, guys. If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, please subscribe. Still trying to build my subscriber base. Take care.